Ever wonder why life keeps knocking you down? Do you ever sit there thinking about what you did wrong? Why people don't notice you? Or why no one seems to listen? The truth is harsh, they don't care. They never have, and they never will. And you've been exhausting yourself, shouting for attention, hoping someone will finally understand. You've been running in circles, trying to prove your worth, trying to force them to see you. But here's something you need to understand. The louder you scream, the less they hear. The more you fight for their recognition, the more invisible you become. You keep throwing yourself at the same wall, expecting it to give way, expecting something to shift. But it never does. It never will, at least. Not until you change. Not until you realize the one thing no one has ever told you. The secret to surviving, to winning, to finally taking control of your own life. You want to know what it is? Silence. That probably sounds absurd. You're thinking, how is silence supposed to help? How is keeping quiet going to stop people from walking all over me? How is not saying anything going to fix what's broken? But that's exactly where you're wrong. See, people expect you to yell. They expect you to fight back, to argue, to break down. And when you do, they win every single time. Because the moment you lose control, they know they've got you. They feed off your frustration. They thrive on your anger. Your reaction is their victory. But when you go quiet, when you stop playing the game, that's when everything shifts. That's when they start to squirm. Because silence is power. It throws them off balance. It forces them to sit with their own actions, to question themselves in ways they never had to before. Did they push too far? Are you planning something? Are you about to snap? That uncertainty, that lack of reaction, unsettles them more than any outburst ever could. People crave attention. They need a response. It's like oxygen to them. They poke, they prod. They try to get under your skin just to see you break. And the moment you stop giving them what they want, the moment you refuse to engage, it destroys them. It leaves them lost, confused, powerless. And that's when you take control. There's a reason people feel uneasy around silence. It makes them think. It makes them uncomfortable. It forces them to reflect in ways they never had to when you were busy reacting. They start questioning everything. Did they push you too far? Have they lost their grip on you? What are you planning? That paranoia eats away at them. They start second-guessing themselves. And in that moment, without saying a single word, you take back the power they thought they had over you. You see, real power isn't in screaming the loudest. It isn't in fighting to be heard. It's in knowing when to stay quiet. It's in understanding that you don't need to explain yourself to people who never cared to listen in the first place. It's in choosing where to place your energy, instead of wasting it on battles that were never meant to be won. People will try to provoke you. They will try to drag you into their chaos, make you question yourself, make you feel like you need to defend who you are. But the moment you step back, the moment you refuse to engage, the moment you meet their attempts with absolute silence, you will see just how fragile their control really was. Because silence is not weakness. It is strength. It is discipline. It is knowing your worth without needing validation. And the moment you master it, the moment you stop reacting and start observing, you will realize something. You were never the one without power. They just made you think you were. Silence isn't just the absence of words, it's the presence of control. It's the refusal to let anyone else dictate how you feel, how you react, or how you carry yourself. The world is filled with people who thrive on your response, who feed off your emotions, and who manipulate your reactions to keep you under their thumb. They poke, they prod, they push until they get what they want to rise out of you. Proof that they still have power over you. But the moment you stop giving them what they expect, the moment you stop engaging in their games, the moment you go quiet, that's when everything changes. Because silence is power. It's the one thing they don't know how to handle. They expect anger, they expect frustration, they expect you to explain, defend, and justify yourself over and over again. But when you refuse to do any of that, when you stop playing the game, they lose control. The truth is, people don't mistreat you because you're weak. They don't take advantage of you because you're not enough. They do it because you've been too generous. You've given too much of yourself, your time, your energy, your emotions to people who never deserved it in the first place. You've been explaining yourself to people who never cared to understand. You've been hoping for change from people who only ever wanted to take. And the more you give, the more they take. It's a cycle. They'll drain you of everything: your confidence, your kindness, your peace, until there's nothing left but exhaustion and regret. And even then, they won't stop. They'll keep taking, keep pushing, keep demanding more. Because as long as you're willing to hand over your energy, they'll never stop consuming it. That's why silence is so powerful. When you stop talking, when you stop explaining, when you stop giving people access to you, they start to panic. They start to wonder. They start to lose their grip. Silence forces people to sit with themselves. It forces them to face their own thoughts, their own insecurities, their own flaws. And most people, they can't handle that. They don't want to deal with the truth about who they are. So they keep the focus on you. They keep pushing you, provoking you, hoping you'll react, just so they don't have to face themselves. But the moment you go quiet, everything shifts. The power dynamic changes. Suddenly, they don't know where they stand with you. They don't know what you're thinking. They don't know how to predict your next move. And that scares them. It throws them off balance. It makes them feel vulnerable in a way they never expected. Ever noticed how the quiet ones always seem to have the upper hand? How they move differently. How they never seem rattled. How they always seem in control. That's because they've mastered the art of silence. They've learned that real strength isn't in loud arguments or dramatic reactions. It's in restraint. It's in knowing when to walk away. It's in choosing not to waste words on people who don't deserve them. You think being nice will earn you respect, that if you just keep giving, keep being the bigger person, keep swallowing your pride, people will finally see your worth. No. Being too nice gets you walked all over. It makes you an easy target. People don't respect endless kindness. They take advantage of it. They see generosity as something to exploit. They take and take and take. And when you finally have nothing left to give, they discard you like an afterthought. So, what's the solution? You stop giving yourself away so freely. You stop bending over backward for people who wouldn't lift a finger for you. You stop explaining yourself to those who never listened in the first place. You stop wasting your time, your energy, and your emotions on those who only know how to take. Instead, you go quiet. You let them wonder. You let them sit in the discomfort of their own actions. You let them feel the weight of your absence. Because silence speaks louder than words ever could. It lingers. It makes people question. It makes them uneasy. It forces them to confront what they've done. And that is real power. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't owe anyone access to your thoughts, your feelings, or your energy if they didn't earn it. They don't deserve it. You might think silence makes you look weak, that it makes you seem like you don't care, but that's not true. Silence is the strongest move you can make. It's the moment you take back control. When you stop giving people the reactions they crave. When you stop letting them dictate your emotions. You become untouchable. You become the one in control. You become the one holding all the power. And them, they're left scrambling, trying to figure out how they lost control, trying to understand how you slipped through their finger. Let me tell you something: there is nothing more satisfying, nothing more powerful than watching someone who once believed they had control over you slowly fall apart. When you refuse to engage, when you stop responding, when you withhold your emotions, when you give them nothing but cold, calculated silence, it shatters them. It makes them feel weak, exposed, and utterly powerless. And that right there is the purest taste of victory. People fear silence more than anything. They fear what it forces them to confront. They fear being left alone with their own thoughts, their own doubts, their own regrets. They spend their entire lives drowning in noise, in distractions, in constant validation from others. But when you remove yourself from the equation, when you go completely silent, when you no longer give them the reactions they crave, they are left with nothing but themselves. And that is their greatest nightmare. They will try to provoke you. They will try to push your buttons. They will try to bait you into responding, into defending yourself, into explaining, into reacting. But the moment you stop playing their game, the moment you refuse to engage, they lose all their power. They crumble. They unravel. They fall apart under the weight of their own insecurities. Because without your reaction, without your energy, Without your presence feeding their ego, they are nothing. So stop talking. Stop explaining. Stop defending yourself to people who were never truly listening in the first place. They do not want to understand. They do not care about your side of the story. They only care about how much control they have over you. Let them yell. Let them make a scene. Let them try to twist the narrative in their favor. You stay quiet. You stay calm. You stay composed. Because silence, that is your greatest weapon. It is your armor, your shield, your power. And when they finally come crawling back, when they realize they can no longer get under your skin, when they start begging for your attention, for your words, for even the smallest reaction, you do not give it to them. You do not break. You do not waver. You keep walking forward, leaving them behind, drowning in the emptiness you have left in your wake. Because that is when you know you have won. That is when you know you have taken full control. People love to manipulate. They love to play games. They love to see how far they can push you, how much of yourself you are willing to give. They test your patience, your kindness, your tolerance, all while pretending to care. Fine, let them. But you do not play by their rules. You do not give them the satisfaction of knowing they got to you. You do not let them see you sweat. You destroy them with silence. You make them feel small. You make them feel irrelevant. You make them feel powerless. And in the end, when they are left confused, frustrated, and desperate for even the slightest reaction, you will be the one standing tall, unshaken, untouched. And do not be surprised when they start talking, when they start whispering behind your back, when they start calling you cold, heartless, changed. Let them think whatever they want. Because the truth is, they were never worthy of your warmth. They never deserved your kindness. They never valued your energy. The only thing they ever truly earned from you was your silence. Being silent is not just about keeping your mouth shut. It is about guarding your power. Every word you speak is a piece of yourself, a glimpse into your mind, a key they can use to manipulate you. When you speak, you give them something to analyze, to twist, to use against you. But when you refuse to engage, when you say nothing, they get nothing. And that drives them insane. Silence is the most impenetrable fortress. It makes people uncomfortable. It forces them to sit with their own thoughts, to question their own actions, to wonder what you are thinking, what you are planning. And in that silence, you hold all the power. They are left scrambling, desperate for answers they will never find. You see, silence is not passive. It is not weakness. It is not surrender. It is strategy. It is control. It is power in its purest form. And the moment you master it, the moment you stop reacting, the moment you learn to hold your silence as a weapon, you become unstoppable. People will try to get a rise out of you. They will try to provoke you. They will test your patience over and over again. But the more you refuse to engage, the more they break under the pressure of their own actions. They will wonder why you are not fighting back, why you are not defending yourself, why you are not playing along. And that is when the dynamic shifts. That is when the tables turn. That is when you win. Because your silence, it speaks louder than any words ever could. It is a deafening, unshakable reminder that they no longer have power over you, that their words, their manipulation, their petty games mean absolutely nothing. And that realization, that is what terrifies them the most. So let them scream, let them gossip, let them tell their twisted version of the story to anyone who will listen. But you do not respond, you do not explain, you do not give them the validation they are searching for. Because your silence is not surrender, it is dominance. It is a statement, loud and clear, that you are no longer part of their game, that they no longer have access to your thoughts, your emotions, your energy, that they have lost you. And in a world obsessed with noise, where everyone is desperate to be heard, silence is the most lethal weapon you can wield. So that is what you give them: cold, hard, unforgiving silence. You let them feel it. You let it consume them. You let it press against them like an unbearable weight they cannot shake. Because that is what they deserve. People are parasites. They latch onto you. They drain you. They use you until there is nothing left, and then they move on to their next victim. But when you stop feeding them, when you go quiet, when you refuse to give them the energy they so desperately crave, they starve, they wither, They collapse under the weight of their own emptiness. And you walk away, free. So stop wasting your energy on people who never deserved it in the first place. Stop giving your time, your attention, your words to those who have done nothing to earn them. You want to stop getting hurt. You want to stop feeling like you are constantly being used. You want to finally take back your power? Then shut your mouth. Go silent. And watch how they crumble without you. Because in this world, that is how you win. Now, let me hand you 3 cheap cadast kind that flip the script, break the system, and leave the clowns gasping for air while you walk away with the last laugh. Cheat code 1. Silence is a loaded gun. You don't pull the trigger with words. You don't waste bullets on explanations. You cock back, stay quiet, and let the silence burn them from the inside out. The moment you stop reacting is the moment they start self-destructing. Watch them squirm. Watch them crack. That's when you know you own them. Cheat code 2. Detachment is the master move. Caring too much is a weakness. These people, they don't deserve your emotions. They live for your reactions, your energy, your anger. So cut the cord. Unplug. Detach. You don't argue. You don't beg. You don't explain. You vanish from their mind like a ghost, leaving them to wrestle with their own pathetic existence. Cheat code 3. Let them drown in their own noise. They want war. Let them scream into the void. Let them throw tantrums. Let them play their games. Let them scramble for your attention. You sit back, light a metaphorical cigar, and let them choke on the silence you left behind. You don't need to prove a damn thing because winners don't fight losers. And that's checkmate.